Hi, it's Dorothy. Welcome to my sewing room. I know a lot of you have requested additional videos on how to do hems on jeans, so that's what I'll be showing you today. And I've been out for a while, change of scenery, new sewing room, things have been happening in my life, so now I have time to make more videos. I hope you'll enjoy this and learn that taking up a pair of jeans is not that difficult. It can be pretty easy if you have the right tools, and one of the most important things is a very hot, reliable iron. So as I said, these are a basic man's pair of jeans, and this is a bit of a wider leg. So a wider leg you wear a little longer. If it was a very skinny, narrow jean, you would wear it shorter. Generally, you want to hem the bottom of the jean to the top of the heel, and you can have someone mark them for you. And you want to mark each leg individually in case your legs are different, which is very, very common, believe it or not. So for this example, I'll be shortening these jeans 2 inches at each leg. So I'm marking the jean with wax chalk, which you can pick up at your local sewing store or at a hobby shop. And what happens to the wax is it melts when you press it with a hot iron. So as I said, each leg is coming up 2 inches. So I'm marking it 2 inches, and then for the hem itself, I like to allow 1 1/4 inches. Even though it's a 1/2 inch hem on the fold, because this is thick denim, a lot of the denim gets absorbed into the hem. So here's my 2 inches, which is the finish hemline, and I'm measuring 1 1/4 inches, putting another chalk mark, and then I will go straight across with a line, and that's where I will cut it. So we're back again with the jeans, and I already cut one leg, and now I'm cutting the second leg. So I have my chalk line, which is my finished hem, and then I measured down 1 1/4 inches, and I put a new chalk line, and you can mark that, which is your cut line, and that's where I'm cutting. Now, obviously jeans can be very, very thick, so you need a pair of good scissors, and the thickest part is at those side seams. Now on the inside of a jean, what's very important is this extra fabric can get hung up in your machine when you're sewing, so you really want to trim that very, very thin, probably to 1/8 inch. And on this side, which is a flat felt seam, unfortunately you can't trim it. Maybe you can just trim a tiny bit, but this really does help. It makes it easier for the needle to go over that thickness of denim, which is usually about 2 thicknesses. So again, trim that nice and, get rid of that excess, and then I'll show you how to press up 1/2 inch hem. So my jeans are all prepared, and as I said, I'm doing a 1/2 inch hem on the double. So I left 1 1/4 inches. So with my ruler, I'm measuring up a very generous 1/2 inch. I measure that up and give it a very good pressing. You know, for the first few times you do this, you probably will need to use a ruler and consistently measure a 1/2 inch, but I've done this so many times that I can just wing or sort of know where that 1/2 inch is. So I'm just giving it a really good press. And again, a very important tip is to trim your seams, the excess fabric on the inside of your seams on the jeans. So that's my first press of a 1/2 inch that you can see. And now I'm going to do that again. So we're going to just gently fold it over right at the end. So now I fold it up approximately 1 inch, 1 1/4 inch. And something else I forgot to mention is when you measure your jeans, if they're new jeans and they haven't been washed, I always allow at least 1/2 inch for shrinkage, because there's nothing worse than jeans that are too short. You can always go back and shorten them again, but you can't lengthen them. So allow for shrinkage, And if they're older jeans that have been washed many times and put in the dryer, you probably don't have to worry about that. So, as I said, I'm pressing up this 1/2 inch. Now, if you have a sleeve board, which I do have in my closet, that would make things easier because you'd be working on a surface that allows for your jeans. But this is, you know, what I'll show you right now. So anyhow, there you go. There's my stitched hem. I don't prefer to use pins. If you have to, you can put a couple of pins if you're more comfortable. I just don't like using them in jeans because they're hard to see and easy to run over. But if you're comfortable, just put a few pins in there just to hold it in place. And I do find that just, again, that nice hot iron is really, really what you need. Okay, so that's one leg, and now I'll go ahead and do the other leg. So I've pressed up both pant legs on the jeans, and now I'm ready to sew using the machine. I've put a size 16 needle in this particular machine, which is a jean needle, and I have pressed up a 1/2 inch on the double. I like to start at the inside seam, which is obviously the inside, your inseam. I like to start and stop there because it's the least noticeable place. So the first few stitches can be very, very slowly. I also like to work on the inside of the hem so that your bobbin is the right side. In my bobbin, I put rust colored thread, which matches the denim that's already on here. So if you wanted to, you wouldn't have to use orange on the inside, but I am just so that you can see what it looks like. But again, the most important thing is to use that same matching thread, which is usually like an orangey color, and that way it looks like the original thread. So my stitch length is pretty big. It's about 3.5 inches, and I'm going to start off slowly. And the reason I like to do it inside out is because I can see right at the edge of my hem, and that's where I will sew. There are several ways you can do this. You can always move your foot in and move your needle over to the left if you'd rather do that. Now here is the seam, so it gets a little thick, so I go nice and slow right at that seam so my needle doesn't break. And then I can pick up speed as I go onto the flatter area. And here's the thickness again, so you want to go nice and slow. I also, sometimes you have to do a couple of manual stitches if you don't have a machine with a lot of strength. And then do a few reverse stitches, and that's it. Clip your threads, and I'll show you what the hem looks like. The other thing you can also do is you can actually use a mallet, a rubber mallet, or a hammer, and kind of hammer down these side seams, but you'd have to put a piece of fabric over that so that you don't damage your fabric. And that's it. That's your jean hem right there. You can also use a thicker bobbin thread to look a little more authentic. Then you would have to adjust your bobbin case tension so that when you use your thick bobbin thread, you always use the same bobbin case for that thicker thread. So that's it. Not a big deal, and they're all set to go. I would just give it one more pressing and make sure all your threads are snipped, and now I'll do the other leg. So my jeans are all done, and the most important thing, as I mentioned several times, is to really give those jeans a good pressing. And I also mentioned a sleeve board, and technically, yes, this is for sleeves and to get into tubes of fabric when you're sewing, but if you plan on doing a lot of pant hems, these sleeve boards really come in handy, and that way you won't get creases down the center of your pants. And this one I think I picked up at a garage sale, and if it's in good shape, you should have fun and enjoy and explore using it. So thanks for joining me in my sewing room, and I will be probably doing another video real soon on how to thread or change the thread on your serger. Thank you.